Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Backstage webinar of the year. Woo-hoo! Yes, and in this webinar today, I'm going to be sharing with you how to record yourself at home, like introduction to basic pro audio recording at home. If you've been following my Instagram, you probably would have been seeing me share a lot of tips and tutorials and also some vibes. I've just been vibing out on my Instagram page, and I also shared a free ebook guide for anyone who wants to record themselves at home. And if you downloaded the guide, you would be able to catch up on easily on some of the things I'm going to be sharing today. But if you haven't, you're still in luck. There's no need to fear. You can still go ahead to the link in my bio on Instagram at LOPhoebe, single L, not double L, to just download the ebook and the guide, and you have access to my free guide. All right, so today I'm going to be sharing with you step-by-step guide to recording professional audio at home, anywhere, anytime, what you need and all. And first of all, let me introduce myself to those who don't know me yet. My name is Phoebe Adedamola. I am an audio engineer, a recording mixing engineer, both live and studio productions. I am also a creator. I am an educator, and also I am an entrepreneur. So yes, I'm all of this and so many more. I just love to share my knowledge with people, and that's why I started Backstage with Phoebe, and that's why I have a platform called Audio Girl Africa that helps young women get into audio engineering. But this is general. I wanted to extend something more to people who are not girls, people who are just regular humans like myself who would love to learn more from me. So that's why we're here having the first Backstage webinar of the year. All right, so let's move on. Here's a brief summary of what we're going to be doing in this webinar today. We're going to be talking about things you need for your recording, prepping your room for recording, building your recording flow depending on the kind of DAW. And when I say DAW, I mean digital audio workstation, which is like a basic software that hosts your recording, where you patch all of your equipment to. And record like a host software where you record your sources, your voice, your instruments, and every other thing you want to record. And also I'll be giving you some guides to picking your recording equipment, the basics that you can start with and where you can get them from, and also other important facts too. So yes, so before I go on, just take this poll. I want you to take a poll for me, and that would be telling me in the comment section below in the comment section, just let me know what kind of equipment you use, or sorry, what kind of laptop, like personal computer, you use. Because that would guide me in what I would be saying if you're using a Mac, or a Windows PC. Just leave in the comments below. All right. Yeah, all right. So now let's moving on. First thing I would like to discuss and take out of the way is who needs to record. A lot of people feel like, well, I'm just an artist, I'm just a podcast creator, I'm just like a regular singer and songwriter. Do I really need to learn to record myself? And a lot of people feel like, oh, we're doing a lot these days as an artist. You're expected to do this, do that, do this. Why not just let me just, create beautiful music and don't have to bother my head with technical things? While that might work in this age and time where everybody's becoming much more professional with what you're doing, I feel that it is very, very important for every creator, especially if you're a music creator, to be able to at least perform basic professional audio creation, audio recording. Why? Because inspiration can strike at any moment. And now that everything is digital, I feel it's like plug and play. I don't see a reason why it shouldn't be something you should be excited to learn. Because just let me paint a scenario for you. You are maybe vacationing or you are outside as a singer-songwriter. I don't know. I know for me, anywhere I am, inspiration can come in. I can want to, like, I can have a tune in my head or something that I need to record immediately. And let's say, okay, I don't have access to a studio immediately. How do I, get all these things? Instead of waiting for me to get into the studio, when I get to the studio and then inspiration is gone, I can just learn to record myself as much as easy as possible. Just take the necessary steps, open up my laptop, go to my door, and just plug and play my microphone, and I'm ready to record. I feel in this age and time, you need to be able to record yourself, because one thing it gives you sort of like a creative control. You'll be in a much more relaxed environment to know what you are expected to do. And even when you're working with other producers and engineers, you know what they're talking about, you know how to relate with them, how to let them know what you really want, because you have an idea of how to record yourself. So these are some of the reasons why you should record yourself. I'm sorry I can't show my face in this video. Like we all know, this is Nigeria and we have no lights. I had lights early in the morning. If I had known, I would have fixed this webinar early enough, but we never can tell. Lights can come back in a couple of minutes. So let's just go ahead. So yeah, going on to things you need for your recording. Now that we've established why you need to learn to record, we have now go on to, because I know basically that's the reason why you signed up for this webinar. You want to learn to know what are the things I need. Let me say, okay, I want to start recording myself. What do I really need? This depends on your budget and depends on the goal of why you want to record. Now, if you're recording for yourself as a podcast creator, you're probably just using only one channel or two channels if you're going to be, or two tracks if you're going to be having like a co-host or interviewing somebody. If you're a singer-songwriter, you probably also just need, maybe, depending on how many tracks you want to produce, if you know how to play instruments, or if you just want to record your voice alone and have your producer track every other thing. But for now, I'm just going to be picking some of the basic things that you need for professional audio recording. I know that you can use your phone to record. I use my phone to record. I mean, most of my posts on Instagram are not proper professional audio, and that's why you can still hear buzz, you can still hear background noise from my recordings. And that's one thing you want to avoid when you're talking about professional audio recording. You want to avoid the buzzes, you want to avoid echoes, you want to make sure that your voice is as clear and as crispy as you want. So most of the time, I wouldn't advise that you depend on your phone recording for a professional recording. No matter how good the iPhone is, you still need to be sure that you can be able to process the audio and also, have access to it in such a way, have access to data in such a way that you can tweak and maybe edit in the future. So that's why for a professional audio recording, depending on what your budget is, these are some of the most essential things that you'll be needing. You need a laptop, and if you're using a Mac or a Windows PC, that's quite good. Just make sure that your RAM is one of the latest RAM right now, maybe at least above 32, not 32 gig, above 8 gig RAM, something of 8 gig RAM and above, so that you can have because your recording can be a whole lot, the data can be very heavy, and you want something that can run most of these recordings smoothly. And also you need a professional recording mic. And when I talk about professional recording mic, I'm also talking about, there are a lot of different recording mics you can have access to in the market. And if I say I should go into the types of mic that we have right now, we have the dynamic mic, we have the condenser mic. They're totally different mics. Hello, I hope you can all hear me. Okay, so continuing with what I was saying with things you need for your recording. Okay, so I'm going on. Hi, Ijazi, welcome. I already moved past my introductions and every other thing, but welcome to my live webinar, which is the Backstage webinar, first of its kind for this year. And I'm talking about how to record yourself at home. And these are some of the things I'm going to be discussing in this webinar, and it's just going to be as brief as possible. But for the sake of those that are just joining me, please go to the chat and just drop in the chat. Let me know what kind of PC you are using, either a Mac or a Windows. If you can tell me the model, that would be preferable, so I know how to guide you along the way as I go. So we already established the fact that in this day and age, every creator, musician, every singer, songwriter should be able to know how to record themselves at home, because it's very important. You don't know where inspiration is going to hit you, and you don't always want to always wait for getting into the studio or having access to a producer before you go ahead to record yourself. I hope you can see my screen. Just let me know in the chat. Okay, thank you very much. A Windows Dell laptop. That's good. Let me know in the chat also if you're familiar with any of the recording digital softwares out there, and let me know which one you're familiar with so that we can go ahead. All right, so if you downloaded I want to assume that everybody in this webinar actually downloaded my ebook, which is a step-by-step guide to recording yourself at home. So I won't be repeating much of things I said in that ebook. But if you have questions, you can drop them in the chat and I'm going to attend to the questions. All right, so how are you using Logic on Windows Dell laptop? That's surprising for me, but that's actually good. If you use Logic, yes, I use Logic because I use a MacBook, which means that we're on the same page. So I was just saying the list of some of the things you would need when you're recording. So I was talking about a laptop, yes, and that's what we've established now, and also a professional recording mic. Now, when it comes to choosing a mic, it's a very, very sometimes a lot of people feel, oh, let me just get any type of mic or any type of mic that comes with the package and I can just use it. There are different types of mic and there are different ways you can actually set up that mic, and you need to understand how to use a particular mic. I'm just going to talk about the types of mics that are available in terms of their functions. All right, or you work with a studio and you have a Mac, oh, that's good. Yeah, a lot of people don't like FL when they get used to Logic. I can understand that. Yes, I get that. Yeah, that's good. So that since you have access to a Mac, I'm just going to stick with Logic today. So if you have questions as I go along the way, just drop them in the chat. And after I finish my presentation, we can then now open up the floor for you to just unmute and ask me a question. Okay, so professional recording mic, depending on their types, we have the basic ones that everybody knows. We have dynamic mics and we have condenser mics. And dynamic mics are mics that can be used anywhere, anytime. I'm just going to be explaining not with technical terms, but with just layman terms. These are mics that you can use for any type of situation because they are much more durable and they are probably unidirectional. They only take signal sources from the front end. While for condenser mics, they are most likely omnidirectional, and that means that they are much more sensitive to their environment. They have much more thin diaphragms. Let me not go into details of that. And that's what you see in most of, if you're familiar with the Focusrite Studio package, the mic inside the Focusrite Studio package is a condenser mic, and it's very sensitive. That means that if you're recording in a room that is not very, very treated, or in an outdoor environment, it picks up every sound going on around. So that's why, and then also they're actually very good because they are much more breathy, and then the kind of vocals or the kind of signals that you get from them are much more clearer than the dynamic mics. But when you talk about dynamic mics, the much more common example I can give is the Shure SM58, and that's what you can see. If you can see my screen, just let me know in the comments, so that, yes, the Shure SM58 is a very sturdy mic and one of the kind in the industry. It's a very, very reliable mic that you can use for any type of recording, and you can use it anywhere because it's a unidirectional mic. It only takes it only responds, it's only sensitive to sound coming directly to the front of it, but close out sound coming from the back. But it depends on how you set it, and it can give you a much more, professional audio recording, actually. So then the next thing will be your audio interface. There are a lot of audio interfaces depending on your budget. All these things are just basic things that you need for your recording. An audio interface is something that works like a mixer. That's like your soundboard. If you know, a lot of people call it sound card. So the common one will be the Focusrite 2i2, where everybody see as the sound card, that has only 2 preamps, 2 input ports and 2 outputs, and then you have your monitor in outputs that you can use to, like, headphones to listen to what you're recording. And then next one will be your digital audio workstation. A digital audio workstation is a software like Logic, like the one you mentioned, Logic, FL, Cubase, Reason. There are a lot of them out there that you can use to host your recording. For podcasts, for people who are just recording podcasts, you have Audacity. You can use any of these doors, but most people are very comfortable with Audacity as podcast creators. Then you need a very good piece of headphones, so as to be able to listen back to what you've recorded. So these are just basic things that you would need. There are other things too when you're setting up your recording studio, but I can't actually go into that in this. So now let's go on to preparing your recording workspace. If you are still here with me, just let me know. And if you understand all that I've said, just let me know in the comment section so that we can continue. I can't show my face and we can't show our faces in this podcast. Sorry, in this webinar. Please bear with me for the moment. So now going on to the next thing, which is preparing your recording workspace. Before you record, oh great, thank you very much. There are some basic things that needs to be considered, like choosing the right room, basic acoustic treatments, when is the best time to record. I just would record at night, and I would explain why I said that, and types of mic you can use, and also how to troubleshoot before you record. So now, in this webinar, I'm focusing on those who have like a home studio, or like you want to start recording at home, which means that you're most likely going to use your bedroom, which is majorly one of the most quiet spaces in the house. So you have to like consider, and if it's not, and if you're sharing room with friends and family, oh well, you probably will have to look for a studio or some place that you know that you have access to and no other person has access to. So logically, I'm going to say you go for your bedroom. So now when it comes to basic, what are the basic things that you need to focus on when choosing the right room? You have to consider how your room sounds. Have you ever heard a recording and it feels like the person talking is very distant and it looks like there's a whole lot of noise? Not so much noise, but the person sounds very distant and it's sounding very echoey. Yeah, that's to show you that room that the person recorded that particular sound is not treated and it's just, just bare walls, no acoustic treatment, nothing to like absorb the sound reflections. And have you been in a room and you just not so much of a room, maybe like a hall, and you clap your hand and it keeps like you have like a reverberating sound? That's the effect of sound vibrating through the room, because it's hitting different sources. I'm not going to go into like, so that I don't lose you in this webinar. I'm just going to keep it as simple as possible because this is just introduction. But there are some basic things you can do to dampen your room and soundproof your space to ensure that sound is not escaping the room and your room is totally protected from external noise and also from vibration. So now let's go into, and these are some of the things that you can use when it comes to treating your room. Wood is actually a very good sound absorbing material. So if you are in your room, majorly you probably have like a wooden frame or maybe a rug, or maybe like you have like all this wooden floor, these new wooden floors that they make now. That's a very good choice. No tiles, please, because tiles are actually very, very sound reflective. So it's advisable that if you have tile floors, try to like maybe use a rug, a very thick rug for your room. And then your bed actually is very, very, so these are like for professional studio spaces. You have base straps. These are like then foams. You see rock wool foams are like if you've probably seen a studio before, there's probably double walls where inside the first wall there are paddings, there is rock wool. I probably will show you some of those pictures of those things here, but I don't have them in this presentation. But you could Google them. You see, if you've been in a studio before, you will see panels on the wall where you have like inside those panels, there's already maybe foams and woods and just something to cover it up, and it's placed across different areas on the wall just to absorb sound and to ensure that the sound in the room doesn't reverberate in the room, so that it just dampens the way sound moves around in that particular room. And then you have people do screeding. I don't know if you've heard of the word screeding before, but they do POP and then ensure that, okay, if you understand what I'm saying, just let me know in the chat and just follow me. And then there's double wall soundproofing, there's soundproof doors, everything that needs to be done to ensure that, okay, sound doesn't leave the room. And then you can just the only way you can really know is when you are in the room, you can't hear what is coming in from outside. And when you are outside, you can hear what's going in inside. That's to show you how well treated a particular room is. So now let's go to, when it comes to your own room, let's say, okay, all these things are high-end stuff. There is no money to do all those stuff. So now let's come to some of the things that you can easily find in your environment that you can use. Your couch or sofa, because it's made of foam materials, they absorb sound and ensure that the room is much more damp. And also your mattress. Then instead of investing in light curtains, go for thicker curtains so that by the time you put it over your window, it at least takes off some external noises. Then you can go for thick rugs and also wooden floor. Like I said, no tiles. If you have tiles, I'm not saying you should go break it up, just invest in very thick rugs and just make sure that the area you are dedicating to as your recording space has like, some sort of is far away from where noise is coming in from. Avoid your window area because that's majorly where noise will probably coming in from if you're living in a noisy environment. So if you're living in a noisy environment, another thing you can do, like I said here, is to record at night. Why? Because a lot of people would have slept and then there will be minimal background noises, and you can just be sure that you can have almost total silence in your area. So then another thing will be that the type of mic you're using. If your room is not totally treated, I would advise you go for a dynamic mic. There are a lot of mics. I don't know if you've probably seen this particular mic. I'm going to show you that particular mic right now. Shure SM7B. Yes, it's quite expensive. It's expensive, but if you have the money, it's a very good investment. Okay, so I'm just going to share. All right, can you see my other screen now? This other one, this is the mic I'm talking about. Let me know if you can see this mic. This is a very good mic because it's called the cardioid dynamic mic. The reason why it's called a cardioid mic is because it's very, very quiet, in the sense that whatever sound is coming from behind that particular mic, yes, it's quite expensive, but the nearest thing to this will be your Shure SM58. All you need to invest in for the Shure SM58 is to get like a pop filter so that it can take off the pop, the plosive sounds that are coming from your recording. But if you have the money to see, like I said, if you want to invest in high-end mics, that's when you can go for this. But if you're going for something close to this, that'll be the Shure SM58, which is very, very, you can find it, I think for about 30,000 naira, you can actually buy a very good SM58 mic right now. I don't know how much it's selling now, but I think that's the price for it. Yeah, so, okay. All right, so let's go back to my presentation, my slide. All right, so these are some of the things that you would need that you can use, that you have access to. Like I said, this webinar is to show you what you can use in your home studio just to be able to record yourself at home. So building your recording workflow. Now, this is where it comes to after you have treated your room, after you have, gotten your equipment and you're ready to record. How do you build your recording workflow? For someone who uses Logic, since some people here use Logic, so I'm just going to go through that. This is what I'm going to say when it comes to recording yourself, whether in a studio or at home. The first thing will be to have a recording goal in mind, because there's nothing more time wasting than going into the studio not knowing what you are actually trying to record in the first place. Do you want to actually record a song? Do you have your song written down already? Do you have the beats already tracked down? What exactly are you trying to achieve? Because that's what is going to guide what you're going to do in the studio or during your recording. The next thing will be, whatever you want to do, make sure that you have a backup drive. There's no, it's never too, you can never be too safe. Actually, there's nothing like being too safe. You can either be safe or you're at risk. So the best thing would be to have a backup drive. Ensure that whenever, even if after you've saved up on your laptop, you're also saving on your hard drive. So it's good to invest in a very good hard drive. Then check all your equipment. If you are going to be recording yourself, and let's say, okay, so for this, let me ask you a very good question right now. What would you like to record? Are you a musician, or you just want to, what's your recording goal? Let me put it that way, so that it can guide what else I'm going to be asking you in the next few questions. What's your recording goal? Why do you want to learn how to record yourself? Just leave that in the chat so I can follow up with that. All right, so then check all your equipment, and also the next thing will be to ensure that your space is quiet and free of every distraction. So when you are ready to record, ensure that when you open up your recording project, do a test recording first before you do any other thing. It's very, very important. So please leave in the chat why do you want to record yourself, or what's your recording goal? What exactly do you want to achieve when you want to achieve with this knowledge of recording yourself? Let me know in the chat. All right, so building a recording workflow. Again, like I said, these are basic guidelines and they're not set in stone, but obviously if you follow these guidelines, it will save you a whole lot of heartaches in the future when you are trying to record yourself. So whenever you open all right, that's great. That's a very great one. You need to learn how to record yourself so that you can be able to keep the ideas together. Yes, fantastic. That's very great. All right, so moving on, building a basic recording workflow. And I'm just going to open up a project. I hope that would, I hope that is allowed. Yes. So this is one of my basic, this is one of a project that I worked on. So this is like a basic recording workflow. So I'm just going to like start with a new project. Let me know if you can see my screen before we go on. So let's assume that we're going to Logic and we're opening a new project. Open a new project. You can either open a new project from a template that you have on ground, or you open a purely new project. So for the sake of this webinar, I'm just going to open like a totally new project. All right, just totally new. All right. Okay, so majorly when you come to Logic, it asks you, do you want to record a software instrument or you want to record audio? For the sake of this webinar, I'm going to click on audio. So I have no inputs attached to this because I have no audio interface connected to my laptop. But if I had an audio interface connected, it will show me here under audio inputs to pick maybe Scarlett 2i2 or my major mixer, which is the Midas M32, whichever one I want to do. And then to ask me if I want to enable recording, and I go to enable recording. Depending on the number of tracks I want to add, I can, let's say for the sake of this webinar, I'm doing 2 tracks. So I create. Always, the first thing you should do when you're is to go to file first and save your project. Yes, save your project first. Ensure that you have it saved where you can find it. And most of the time I save on my hard drive straight, but for the sake, because my hard drive is not connected to this, I'm just going to save directly to maybe one of my mixes that I have here, recent places. So all I just do is webinar, and I always advise that you save your projects in caps and save it according to something that you can remember. It's very easy that way, because you don't want to start looking for projects and you are looking for it all around because you can't even find where it is. So it's better to be safe than to be sorry. So you can either save it as a package, which shows only the Logic icon, or you save it as a folder. I always love to save as a folder because I'm a mixing engineer, so that I can have access to the audio files separately, have access to the bounced files separately. It's always easier and very, very sweeter that way than to save as a package. All right, so when I save as a folder, I just click save. So it's save your projects before you start recording, because let's say if you're recording a multi-track of over 32 tracks and you didn't save before you recorded, it's going to take much more longer time for you to save, because it's to start writing the audio. All right, so it's always advisable to always save before you start recording. So now a lot of people just leave their projects like this, audio 1, audio 2, they don't name their projects, their tracks. The problem it gives is that when it now comes to the mixing session, the mixing engineer would have to start listening one after the other, or if you're the one listening to your project, you start listening one after the other to know which instrument is which. So it's always better before you record, you start, naming your tracks. So now let's say I'm recording Phoebe take 1, and then the next one is say Phoebe take 2, and then I do what? I start my recording. So that makes it easier for anyone who opens up my project, or I send this particular file to be able to say, oh, my screen is white. Can you still see it now? Please let me know if you can still see my screen. So sorry. I hope you get white caps, because it makes it's much more cleaner for me. There's no rule actually, but it makes it easier for you to be able to see it. Oh, sorry about that. Can you still see it? But honestly, don't worry. I'm going to share this this whole webinar recording soon, so you can go back and recap. All right. So for caps, the reason why I go for caps is there's no big deal. It just makes it easier for me to see what I'm looking for than for me to save it in, save it in a regular font. So that's the reason why I save with caps. So there's no big deal with it. So now moving on. All right. Never delete a take, especially when you're recording at home. You want to record all the ideas, record them as long as you want to record them, especially when you're recording a song. You don't know which take would work best. Never delete a take unless you want to, maybe when you are done with your recording and you want to mix down. Yes, that's when you should now say, oh, this take is not good, I can delete it. But always listen to every take with a fresh ear. So that means that after you're done recording, don't mix immediately. Give it maybe like 2 hours or 3 hours and come back to it and listen to it again. So again, then always create a new track for each take. So now let's say you first record a particular part and say, oh, okay, this is it. Then you want to re-record that particular part. Don't record on the same track. Open a new track and then record. And then rename that track as take 2 or take 3, because it's always easier, makes your work cleaner and makes it easy for you to be able to say, oh, this track, I don't want it, and this track, I don't want it. All right, so always check your inputs again. Yes, this is where a lot of people miss it, especially when you're recording yourself. Knowing how to set proper gain. I won't be able to show you that in this webinar, but definitely you will have a recording from me to show you how to do that very soon. So then also another thing is to ensure that you do a test recording. But the simple rule for setting proper gain is to ensure that whenever you are speaking into your mic, it doesn't clip, it's not showing any sign of red when you're reading the meter. If you look at the meter of your recording, most of the time you have the green, you have the yellow, and then you have the red. Never ensure that whenever you are talking into your mic or somebody's playing back into your recording, it is not showing red. Don't worry, we're going to get into most of these practical things very soon. Just stay with me. All right, so then after you're done with your recording, always save your session and then save it in different folders, or save it in a drive that you know that you can easily go back to and find. Then make sure that you back up your recording session. It's very important because you can back it up on your system, back it up on a hard drive. If you have access to a CD, I don't think nowadays CDs can work, but if you have access to, like, maybe you have iCloud or Google Drive, back it up on cloud so that it's easy for you to be able to, you won't hear stories that touch at the end of the day. So it's always good to have backup recordings. So yes, All right then, so now let's go to essential recording equipment. These are some of the things that you would really need, let's say on a budget. So now, yeah, so let's say on a budget, you need something. I know that a lot of people think that they can use their iPhone to record. Yes, but you can't compare what you get from an iPhone from what you get from a proper standard microphone. Unless you're using one of the high-end, even if you're using the high-end iPhones these days, you still have to be sure that, okay, you have a software that you can use to record. So then, like I said, the microphone you can invest in would be to go for a Shure SM58, because you don't really need much. You don't really need to go look for the recording shield here. You can as well just invest in a very good pop filter. All these things, you can find them on GG. So you can just go to gg.ng and search for any of these things. I'm going to leave the link. I'm going to leave the name of the mic I mentioned here on the chat, so you can just go ahead and search for it, SM58. And also pop filter. Yes, just search for pop filter, you find it. And then you need a very good mic stand. If you don't have access to a mic stand, you can hold your mic, as long as you are sure that you won't be jumping around with the mic. Even if you're jumping, the beautiful thing about SM58 is, even if you're jumping around, it's a very sturdy mic. It's actually very, very good. So then digital audio workstation, like I said, since majority of you use Logic, that's actually very good. But if you were a podcaster or someone who just wants to start recording and you don't have a MacBook, you're using Windows, I think you should go for Studio One. A lot of people don't like FL Studio, but you can go for Studio One, you can go for their demo version, or go online to how you can download for free. I'm not going to introduce you to how you can download for free, because this video might be going to YouTube and I don't want them to sue me. All right. So, but you can see me later and I can show you how you can actually download them for free. All right. So then, but for Logic, you can get, you have access to Logic for the first time for the first 3 months. Then after 3 months, you can either decide to buy it, which is about, I think it's about 90K from Apple Store, or you can also look for the back end and where you can download for free. Like I said, I'm not going to show you that here because I don't want to be sued. All right, so then you need cables. Yeah, you can get cables for 5K, 10,000 Naira, very good XLR cables that you can use for your mics. And then headphones, please invest in a very good headphone. And if you have the money, it will be advisable to get a recording shield. When you get a recording shield, it protects, it just gives you like, it just covers up where you're going to be recording, so that it's easier for you to take out the external noises coming in. So, and that's basically some of the things that you need for your XLR cables. Yes, that's like the cable you would use to connect your mic to your sound card. Yes, yes. So that's a cable that you use to. So let me just see if I can quickly find a picture of it. They are also called mic cables. All right. They're also called mic cables. So if you were thinking of yeah, so it's even on Kunga. Can you see my screen? Yes, can you see my screen, guys? So this is what I mean by XLR cable. They are called microphone cables. All right, you can use that to connect your mic. Yes, great. All right, great. Thank you very much. So let's go back to my presentation. And yeah, so those are some of the things that you would need. And then, so important facts to remember. You need to start with what you have. All right. So even if it is a Windows PC you have, and the only thing you can access is Audacity, like I said, Audacity is a very simple recording software. Just Google it and you can be able to, like, it's called Audacity. Yeah, Google it, and you can even download it for free. It's a very free, and there's another free recording software by Waves. It's called Tracks Live. It's very good for anyone who wants to record music and just track down stuff. You can't use it to produce, but you can use it to record. These two digital audio workstations can be used to record, like track down maybe your voice, track down an instrument. But if you want to produce, let's say you need softwares like FL Studio, Logic, Cubase. So those are the ones that you can actually use to produce. But we're not talking about production in this webinar. So you don't need to have like a whole budget. So what I would advise for anyone who wants to start recording will be to go for Focusrite Studio package. If you downloaded my ebook, you would have seen this in the ebook Studio package. Yes, so this Studio package comes with a microphone, but the microphone, I wouldn't advise you use that microphone if you don't have a properly padded room, because it is very sensitive and it will pick every noise in the room. So you can exchange that microphone for the Shure SM58, and then it comes with an XLR cable. It comes with a sound card, which is your audio device. It comes with an headphone. And so it's like a complete studio package that you can use to start recording. I think that package is about 100K or 90K. So instead of going to buy individual essential recording materials, gadgets, you can just go for that bundle package. And if you like to get it, you can reach out to me later and I can give you like a good deal, and then send you to someone who can give you at a very good deal. All right. So I've come to the end of my presentation, but if you really want to learn more about recording pro audio, and then because we couldn't go into much more practicals here, but I have something that would solve that problem for you. And that is, you can sign up for my DIY recording basic course. It's a 5-day self-taught online course that shows you step-by-step guide, practical guides to how you can, start recording yourself at home, and also how to mix and edit your audio recording, basic editing, basic mixing stuff. So this is for anyone who wants to learn how to record your own song, their podcast, and their vlogs, and record proper audio at home. So for the sake of those who are joining this webinar, I'm giving out a 40% discount. And this course is going to be starting, yes, this is the original price of the course. But for the sake of those in this webinar, I'm giving a 40% discount. So today is your lucky day. And course is going to be starting November 15th. That's next week's Monday, not this Monday, next week Monday. And I have only 50 slots available at the moment. So for early birds, you can start, if you sign up before the course launches, you get it at $49. All right. So yes, so most of the people who have attended my course before, they have good things to say. So you will be sure that you would learn from the best, and you will learn hands-on, and then it's going to be step-by-step. You can do it at your own pace, and you have a lifetime access to the course. All right, so this is Q&A time. I'm ready to answer your questions. Just let me know. We have like the next 5-10 minutes to answer questions, and now you can unmute your mics and then you can talk back to me. All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, it's EJ.
Hi,
Thank you
EJ.
so much. Thank you so much. I just have one question from the recording topic you took about preparing Workspace, choosing the right room.
Okay.
You said recording at night. recording at night. What about the voice?
Oh
I
yeah,
think my voice, or most
people's voice, yeah. Okay, so yeah, that might be a challenge, but one thing you can do, I believe that there are, what do they call it? Vocal exercises you can do to wake up your voice, actually, when you want to record. The reason why I picked at night is because unless you know that during the day people have gone out and there is no noise around you in your area, it's cool. The reason why I picked at night is because most people in their environment, night time is always like the safest time because everybody's asleep. There's no horns blaring. People are probably not on the road during that time. And you can actually just look at what time works best in your environment. Some might just be during the day where everybody has gone to work. So if you know that your voice doesn't work great during the night, what you can invest in. And the reason why I picked night would be that, okay, let's say you're using a condenser mic that is very sensitive to your environment. But if you're using a Shure SM58 or SM57, you can record at any time, actually, because it only picks your voice and it's dead to every external voice coming around, unless you crank the gain up to a level where it's very sensitive to everything going on around. So that's why when it comes to setting proper gain, I think that's one of the videos I'm probably going to drop this week, just to show you how to set proper gain when it comes to recording on your mic. So you should probably expect that before the end of the week. But you can record at any time when you're using a dynamic mic. That only applies to condenser mics that are
Thank you very much.
All right. Do you have any other questions? I think we have one more person on the chat or participating. Yeah, I have Adiara Emmanuel. So if you have questions, Emmanuel, if you have questions, just let me know. But in the meantime, this is the recording course, and these are some of the things you're going to be learning from the course. It's going to be a very detailed.
Right, okay. I don't really have any question, but
Okay.
Thank you for the presentations. I really appreciate the high opening stuff. So we'll talk more.
All right, you can mute your mic now. All right, so thank you. These are some of the things you're going to learn from the course, and I'm going to be going into details of how you can record yourself and how you can set like understanding your environment, and like majorly guides to recording your vocals, guides to recording music instruments, and also guide to recording speech and podcast. Then a bonus chapter will be basic mixing tips, so that at least you can at least just do some basic editing stuff by yourself. And I think that's actually it. And yes, there's another thing. You already know that with me, I'm always about helping my community grow. And this is one other thing that I'm using too. So I'm introducing an affiliate program for anyone who wants to, you're like, okay, you don't have you want to like make money on the side. So if you have anyone who can sign up for my online courses, you get 10% of the course fee. So that's how you make money from me. Let's make money together. All right. So this is how you reach out to me. Everybody knows most of you, for you to be able to join this webinar, you probably have been receiving emails from me. I hope you guys have been receiving emails from me. Please let me know if you've been receiving emails from me. All right, thank you very much. So let's continue. Connect with me on Instagram. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go to my YouTube channel. It's called Backstage with Phoebe. Subscribe. I have a lot of tutorials and resources on there that you can take advantage of, and also join my mailing list, I'm very sure. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you some other time. So if you want to sign up for the course, please let me know so that I can send you